Hi, welcome to my Not So Fine Life. My name is Harley. As in the description, today's video will be about peaceful parenting. This will be my first official video, and I made this video as a piggyback to a live that I made on my personal social media accounts. And a lot of people wanted more information. I rambled a lot on that live. So this is going to be a shorter video, more to the point. So first thing first, peaceful parenting is not spoiling your kids. It's a common misconception. You could absolutely discipline your kids in a peaceful way without hitting them. Actually, if you look up the word discipline, it means to train, educate, and teach. So that's what peaceful parenting is. You're educating, you're training, and you're teaching. And most important, it does involve discipline. Just because you don't beat your kids, it does not mean that you allow them to get away with things or walk all over you. So the first things first, I'm not claiming to know it all when it comes to parenting. I'm not saying this method is the sure way method. I'm not saying peaceful parenting makes me or makes you more of a better parent than the next person. I'm not at all saying that. I am just giving tips and advice and on how to peaceful parent. So that being said, let's start. The most important thing that I notice with peaceful parenting is you have to be dedicated to it. You have to be extremely consistent because children naturally will push and push to see where your limits lie and how much they can push until they get away with certain things. So, for example, my oldest, he's 2 years old. He's extremely defiant. He would purposely go do something I'm telling him no, just to do it or just to see if he can get away with it. Now, this is where consistency comes into play. If I allowed him that one time, if I allow him that one time to get away with it, then in his mind, I'm teaching him that you can't get away with something if you keep persisting. Does that make sense? So you have to find out with consistency, you have to find out which are your absolute no's, meaning things that you will never cave in, things that are strict no's. For example, since I have a 2-year-old, his main things are doing things that could potentially harm or kill him because that's what toddlers do. So, obviously, common sense, my hard no's are no playing with outlets, no playing with the light switch, no touching the water tabs because he's at the age where he can kind of reach the sink or he'll find ways to climb. So things like that are my hard no's, and I absolutely never ever let him get away with doing those hard no's. Another thing obviously is hitting, biting, kicking, things like that. Those are hard no's. And the way I enforce those no's peacefully is saying, I explain why that is a no. Kids need to know. Kids are curious. Kids need to know why they can't do something. Even though he's only 2, I find ways to explain why no is no. For example, with the outlet, you can't play with the outlet because that'll give you an ouchie. That'll hurt. You can touch the hot water or the water tub because that's also an ouchie. Things like that. You can't hit your brother because that's not nice. Things like that. Now, my lenient no's are things that aren't always a risk to him, that are never a risk to him, I should say. They're just sometimes more of an inconvenience depending on my day. For example, wanting to stay playing longer in the bath time, wanting to eat certain things, wanting to watch cartoons or TV longer than he's allowed to, having his tablet for an extended period. Things like that. Things that don't pose any risk. They're just more of a inconvenience or just your way of educating them. So when it come like today, he wanted to be in the shower, playing in the bath time for a little bit longer, but due to my schedule today, it was just a quick shower because he got really dirty after lunch, after breakfast, and I had a lot to do. So I told him no, and I said we have to tell that he's only 2. We have to tell the water bye bye now, and we're all done for today. We can come back later. So I told him, okay, it's not like an indefinite no. We could, you could, because he takes a bath before bed, we could come back to it later and play. And then I also gave him something else, like another option. I said, instead, let's go watch some cartoons. He likes Paw Patrol. So I said, instead, let's go watch Paw Patrol. So that got him excited. I got him out, got him dressed. Like I said, I put on Paw Patrol. I'm not bribing. I'm just giving him another option, something else to do. That's one thing. I said explaining the nose. And you also have to lead by example. Kids absolutely absorb everything you do, how you react to things, and your actions to things, even though you may not realize it, do affect them. For example, I'm very short patient normally. I do get frustrated a lot. So there was a few times where like he saw me like arguing with my electronic, like I would slam down my PC if it wasn't working, things like that. And I noticed him showing that behavior. He would slam his toys or throw it to the side when he got upset. So I had to learn how to lead by example, show positive ways to deal with my frustrations. Because a common mistake that we make is, especially the older generation, we think the kids are not allowed to know stress. They're not allowed to have a bad day. Kids have bad days. They're allowed to have a bad day. They're allowed to get overwhelmed. They're allowed to get frustrated. So find ways to show them positive outlets for those emotions. Also, give them a lot of attention. Not a lot. You don't have to give kids a lot of attention, but children naturally crave attention, and they don't care if it's a negative attention or good attention. They will do things to get your attention. That's what kids naturally do. So I have 2 toddlers, 2 and 1. It's just me because their father works all day, so I don't have time to be with them, giving them attention 24/7. But I do find times during the day for one-on-one time with each of them, or just together. I do find time to give them attention so they don't crave attention and they don't look for negative ways to get attention. Also, you have to be very patient. Peaceful parenting takes a lot of patience. You have to dedicate yourself to it. And one of my strict rules for myself is I never ever discipline when I am frustrated, annoyed, angry, overwhelmed. Never. Because even as an adult or a grown up, when I'm having a bad day or when I'm so overwhelmed, frustrated, I tend to take it out on other people or have an attitude. Most of us tend to do that. So I always wait for me to calm down and we come back. It's not letting them get away with it, but I stop whatever it is that he's doing. I remove him from the situation. I put him somewhere else where he's safe, and then I go catch my breath, and then I bring him back, because it's not about letting them get away with it. It's about, again, discipline is about educating, teaching, and leading by example. So I wait till I'm calm, I come back to it, and I bring him to the same spot, the same thing that he was doing, and I say, I told you no, you can't do this for that reason. So I'll bring him back, for example, to the outlet, and I say, you can't touch this right here because I'll give an ouchie. Things like that. So once I'm calm, that's when I discipline. And for me, why I think this works is because it builds up a good bond and a good relationship with your child. It's not about being your kid's friends, because a lot of parents say, well, I'm the parent, I'm not their friend. And that's fine. But again, you can discipline without letting them get away with things. It's about building a trustworthy relationship. It's about building respect, because hitting your kids does not gain their respect. I know a lot of you guys like to think it does. It does not. All it's building is fear. Just because somebody fears you doesn't mean they respect you. That goes for kids too. So you want a relationship where your kid feels comfortable enough to come to you for anything, where they know even if I make a mistake, I will get, educated on it, but I can still always count on my parent, if that makes sense. So, for example, my mother, the way I was raised, my mother raised me the old school way. I got my behind handed to me multiple times. I got hit with switches, belts, chanclas. I experienced kneeling on rice. And I never had a good communication with my mom for that reason. Again, I feared her, but I didn't respect her. So you want to build a relationship where your kids respect you, but they also trust you. This is why it works. This is why peaceful parenting is my method of parenting. And it's okay to lose your shit. You're not always gonna, have it all together. There are times where you will yell at your kids and you will like flip your lid. And then because it happens. And then what I do when that happens is I apologize. I am a firm believer in apologizing to your kids. You are like your kids again, it's all about leading by example. So, hey, I'm sorry that I yelled at you. I'm sorry that I was mean. I'm sorry that I cursed at you. I'm sorry that I lost my shit at you. I was wrong and I'm sorry. It's okay to apologize to your kids. It totally is. And it teaches them how to be a better person, how to be a decent human being. Another thing you have to realize is kids make mistakes. Stop praising the bar for your children so high. Kids naturally make mistakes and they're allowed to. They're children. They're still learning. They're still developing. So a lot of times we applied common sense to kids. And a lot of grown-ups don't have any common sense. Kids sure as hell don't. So while you're teaching your kids wrong from right, that doesn't mean they like common sense. Like you tell a 5-year-old, go think about what you did. They can't think about what they did because they're 5. They don't know why that's wrong. So you have to kind of explain why it's wrong. You have to teach them. So like I said, kids are allowed to make mistakes. Stop raising the bar so high. Stop putting so much dependency on them. Not dependency, so much expectation on them. Kids will make mistakes as they grow. It's part of life. So you as a grown up, you make mistakes. I make mistakes. If it's not okay for your spouse, your partner, to come hit you for a mistake you did, why is it okay for a grown-up to hit a child for a mistake? And I'm using the word hit and not spank, because spanking is a sugar coating word for hitting. You're still hitting your child. You're still physically hitting your child. So if it's not okay for a grown-up to do that to us, why is it okay for us to do it to a child? If hitting worked, you wouldn't have to keep doing it. Just explain and teach why they can't do what they can. And it sounds simple, and it is simple, but it also requires patience and dedication. I had to take a course on it, because even though I always knew that I didn't want to hit my kids, I didn't have the patience. I found myself getting overwhelmed, and I had to take a course on peaceful parenting to learn how to properly peaceful parenting, how to discipline. So it's okay to, like, a lot of parents are ashamed to admit that. I'm not. It's totally okay to not know what you're doing as a parent. So that's my tips and methods. I will be posting a link to a website that I found that's really helpful. But you could just find like books, you could find videos on YouTube, you could find, free courses. You don't have to pay for a course. If you feel like you do, that's fine. But they are helpful. You do learn a lot from it. And I hope this video was helpful to you guys. I hope that it reached, it helped in some way. Again, I'm not trying to tell you how to parent. I'm not trying to say I'm the perfect parent. I'm not. I just hope that I was able to give some insightful information. Thank you for viewing. If you stuck this long, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share. It would definitely help me, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you for coming to my Not So Fine Life today. Enjoy the rest of your day.